For the next 31 days on the FCPA Compliance Report, we're going to be bringing you a daily tip, strategy, or idea that you can use to improve your program. Here's your host, Tom Fox, the Compliance Evangelist.
This month's sponsor of 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program is Affiliated Monitors, originating and managing a compliance ecosystem. Have you ever thought of compliance as an ecosystem? When have you considered the concept? It becomes clear that this is one thing every company should have. Obviously, every multinational company must have a compliance program, but to have true effectiveness, the compliance program must be operationalized throughout the organization. One way to facilitate this is through the ecosystem concept. A guide is found in the Harvard Business Review article, "In the Ecosystem Economy, What's Your Strategy?" While the focus of this article was on customers and sales, it was clear to me that if you substituted compliance and business process, you could very quickly get to the same place. Moreover, to be the orchestrator and prime mover of an ecosystem, you need a superior product or service that is hard to replicate. This means some combination of compliance, a large network of internal users, and strong branding. I've adapted these ideas for the compliance discipline and the compliance professional. One of the key concepts of the ecosystem culture is that success is as much about helping other firms innovate as it is about being innovative yourself. Companies that have built a successful ecosystem have often done so incrementally, broadening the value proposition of offering by finding opportunities to apply one of its features or functionalities to some previously unrelated product or service. This could be the role of compliance to help make other business disciplines more efficient through the creation of an effective, fully operationalized compliance program. Put another way, there should be shared functionality between the compliance program components and other corporate functions. Compliance does not have to provide the answer to the creation of a business process, it only needs to improve it. This means compliance does not have to take the lead, but can play a complementary role. Compliance can do so through more efficient compliance internal controls, or in some instances, less controls. Compliance needs to have the ability to respond more fully, but also the understanding that it is the business operations that drive sales for an organization. But this does not mean putting all your eggs into one short-term profit basket. The creation of long-term value is more favored by partnering with other disciplines within your organization. Here there are two key concepts. The first is access and the second is attachment. Compliance has to take into account what the business wants rather than simply create a compliance diktat. This may be difficult if compliance is run out of the legal function, which does normally not work with the business unit to make processes more efficient. Under attachment, the key is that the end user will use but not change the developments without sign-off of compliance. For instance, if you've developed an app for mobile use, does it have the look and feel of current apps, or does it feel like it was designed by a bunch of old guys? If you can demonstrate tangible benefits of business efficiency, this will go a long way towards attachment. Here you only need to think of Anheuser-Busch's InBev Brew Right program, where the business operations folks derive greater business efficiency insights from the company's compliance innovation. This should be a trait of every compliance professional, but it is critical in the compliance ecosystem culture. It mandates that an outward-facing culture and the ability to manage multiple relationships. Clearly the requirement of any successful CCO or compliance practitioner. Beyond strategy, to build an ecosystem, you need to manage your organization. Once again, this is a key concept for operationalizing compliance. The bottom line is that every compliance ecosystem must be more closely aligned with the core business of any organization. This comes through a thorough understanding of the business unit function and processes and a thorough knowledge of compliance processes. There is another way the ecosystem approach can make your compliance program more effective. Think about the third parties your company has, both on the sales side and on the supply chain side. If you could work to create a closer ecosystem with those stakeholders from the compliance perspective, it would not only make the business relationship stronger, but make the entire business process more efficient. 2020 has brought a paradigm shift to the compliance function as a result of technology and digital innovation. CCOs who cannot interpret data from their own systems will likely find themselves consigned to the dustbin of corporate luddites. Compliance will be moving into a new era of collaboration and connection to more fully operationalize compliance to make all business stakeholders more efficient and, at the end of the day, more profitable. So what are today's 3 key takeaways? Number 1, a compliance function's customers are a variety of stakeholders. Obviously, your customer base, or rather your employees, are the direct customers of a compliance, but also there are multiple other stakeholders. So they could be third parties, they could be sales agents, they could be those in the supply chain. 2, compliance can improve business processes by making them more efficient. And number 3, never forget that a compliance ecosystem can help to more fully operationalize your compliance program by driving it closer to the front lines of your business organization going forward. I'd like to thank you again for joining me for this episode of 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program, and I hope you will join me for our next episode tomorrow. This podcast series on 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.